interactive sessions. So we're going to kind of dive into the basics of CV writing, right? I know you all know what what you put in a CV. You know that it's important, etc. But most of the time in college, they don't really talk about how exactly to do it, what to do, what people in the industry or corporates really want in a CV. So hopefully I will try and give you as much knowledge as I can, because I have been with Unilever for over 4 years now. To give you an insight into myself before I start going into the CV kind of aspect. So I'm Sabiha. Currently, I am the data specialist and assistant manager in people operations for Unilever. I actually went to NSBM and graduated in NSBM a while ago. And after that, I started an internship with Nestle, where I was in the marketing department, where I was there for a year and realized that, okay, my degree was in HR, so why not, kind of see what HR is all about in the industry. And hence I moved to Unilever as an executive in HR to kind of really put my degree to use. So once I came to Unilever, I've been here for about 4 years now, and I got permanent last year, March, during the whole lockdown. It's been quite a journey, so much of learning, and it's really like a university, out of the university. So I currently handle the HRIS, which is the Human Resources Information System for Unilever, and also the end-to-end data and people operations for the employees of Unilever. So that is what I do in a gist. And I am here to talk to you about CV writing because I know I'm a data specialist. However, what happens in Unilever is we kind of get dragged into a lot of interviews. I've sat for many interviews over my 4 years. I've gone through many CVs, and I have done many sessions like this in the past as well. And hopefully at the end of it, my objective is to kind of answer your questions about CV, because that's something that, everyone has in mind right after they leave college. Okay, what's my CV? I need to get a job, etc. Right? So just to give you this thing. So really, first of all, to understand where your CV fits in, you also need to understand what are the what is the recruitment cycle that sort of happens in an industry, right? So you know that you're supposed to kind of create your CV, and what happens is your CV will be looked at. After that, we will shortlist you, and you will go into an initial interview. So if we like your CV enough, you will be moving on to the initial interview. Then after that, if you're successful in your initial interview, then you will move on to your assessment center, and then you will move on to your final interview. So this depends from company to company, actually. So sometimes they will look at your CV, they will have one interview with you, and they will select you for the job. Sometimes they can have 2-3 interviews, with different management levels. The last level might be the director having a chat with you to kind of get you on board. Sometimes they might have an assessment center or a test or an IQ test or an EQ test in between, just to check your knowledge on certain things. So it really depends on the job. They can even tell you to come to the premises and do a certain test, let's say like an Excel, or maybe actually show them, depending on the field of study that you kind of have. So why I'm showing you this is because I want you to get a understanding of where your CV kind of starts and how important it is. So I'm just going to take a break here, and I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So please be open. You can switch on your mic. You can ask me a question during. It's fine. So how important do you think your CV actually is? So I want you to go to the chat. I want you to type in the number. So, 1 to 5, obviously 5 being very important. So I want you to go to the chat, and I want you to tell me how important do you think your CV is? So I'm going to open the chat. Okay. So there are a lot of 5s. Okay. Okay, I'm yet to see a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Okay, nice. Okay, so I think you all get the gist of what I'm trying to say, right? So definitely, like I said in this particular segment, your CV is the first thing that an interviewer sees, right? Your CV is the first thing that the job that you really want to land, will look at. They won't look at your face. They won't see, your beautiful, pretty face. They won't see, what you've done in school. They won't see anything. They'll just look at this piece of paper, or a PDF, and they will judge if you're ready for the job or not, right? So this 2-page or 3-page or 1 page is super important, because it's going to kind of make you go to the next step or completely disregard you. So understanding the importance of your CV and understanding where it fits in is also very important before you start on your CV. So like I said, it's quite important, because it is the first step, and a recruiter will call in for your CV, and there will be, usually for a job, there's so many CVs that come in, right? There's 2,000, there's 1,000. So your CV needs to be good. It needs to stand out, and I'm here to kind of tell you how you can make it better, and how you can really improve on it to actually be chosen at the start, for you to go through the rest of the recruitment cycle. So I'm just going to show you a small video before I stop. Yeah, just give me a second. Okay, just let me know if you can hear. I'm just going to play a bit of it.
No matter where.
Can you hear?
Yes, Abhiya.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just gonna play this video. Just listen. And it's a video on YouTube, so that's what, right? Before you write a CV, do your research, just like I go on YouTube and do my research. So this is just a tiny video for you. Let's listen.
Here you go. A compelling resume will take you far. It is your first chance to impress, and a way to stand out amongst other applicants. It gives recruiters or educational institutions a glimpse into your past achievements and allows them to gauge your fit for the position. You can also use your resume to remind yourself of your past achievements. When creating your resume, here are a few things to consider. The structure and information presented in your resume will vary depending on your current situation. High school students should not include any experiences before grade 9. College students in the first or second year should only include grade 11 and 12, while those in the third year or further should not include anything before year 1 of college. On the other hand, people with more than 2 years of work experience should not include anything before college and include the educational background section at the end of the resume. Your resume can be broken up into the following sections. Education. Here you provide details of where and what you studied. Work experience. Here you provide one sentence on the company, your title, and what your key responsibilities were. Interests and achievements. Here you give details of any activity outside the workplace, certifications, extracurricular interests, languages, and IT skills. You can add additional sections or change the name of the interest section if you feel that you don't have much to say. Remember that it is okay if you don't have enough to fill a page. It is always better to have a short and concise resume rather than one that is filled with details from the distant past. When formatting your resume, be consistent with spacing and fonts. Spell and fact-check the entire document, especially names of institutions. Make sure you follow a reverse chronological order and be as concise as possible. Your resume should always be as updated as possible. There are certain things you should avoid while writing your resume. For one, don't use templates of people who have substantial years of experience. You do not need to put in your postal address or mention outdated qualifications. Also remember, whatever the reason for your resume, It should never be longer than a single-sided page. You do not need to include a photograph unless you're applying in a country where this is a requirement. Although this goes without saying, do not plagiarize someone else's resume. Lastly, if applying within India, do not mention English under languages if you have studied in an English medium school. Remember, your resume is a snapshot of your journey. It is not a thesis or essay, so be clear, concise, and to the point. For more information on how to write a good resume, please contact us on our website.
Okay, so basically,
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
okay, so basically, you can see my screen again, right? Hopefully, yes. Okay, so the video had a few things that I wanted you all to pick up on rather than me going on talking again and again. So I think that video was made for India. So a few things that you have to kind of pick up on is the fact that the chronological order that they spoke about, but I will also speak about it. But other than the India stuff, you can totally kind of like take it's this thing. So obviously your CV will have certain things, certain sections that you kind of need to speak about. So I know that a lot of you all are, in college and in university, and you all are kind of graduating from university or still in university and finding internships and finding jobs, etc. So I'm going to sort of speak about how you can also add into your CV according to where you are. So obviously the first thing that you put in, right, is your personal details. So this should be right on top. You can put your picture either on the left side or on the right side. But it's important, very, very important to put it on top, and your CV on top really needs to have your personal information where you have to add your number. Ideally give 2 numbers because in case they cannot reach you with one, they can call the other. So always give 2 phone numbers, maybe yours, maybe your mother's or somebody, so that they can get in touch with you. Your email address and your home address, right? So basically that needs to be there. You can add a professional photo. It depends on your preference. So I mean, I add a photo on my CV. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think people can see the screen. We are just seeing the YouTube.
You can't see the screen?
Yeah, we can see the YouTube.
Okay, wait, let me share it again. Share. You should be able to see it now at least. Yeah, can you see now?
Not yet.
Can you see it now?
No. Maybe Sabia, if you could stop sharing and reshare it again.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, can see it now. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Sorry. So I'm gonna keep going. Dulaj, and maybe you can ask your question at the end. Is that okay? Because I know you have a question.
It is not a question. I was trying to say that I can't.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so you can see it now, right? Okay, perfect. So the first thing, this is what I was going on and on about. So the first thing is that you have to put your personal details, add your number, add a working email address, and phone number and your address. Why this is super, super important is because if they like your CV, they need to contact you, and you need to, answer your phone, you need to check your email. So when you know that you have sent a CV to a particular company, make it a habit to check your email, check your junk mail, and also answer any unknown phone number. Because a lot of the times what happens is people will put their email, people will put their phone numbers, and when we call, they don't answer. And they have like, no, I don't answer unknown phone calls or phone numbers. And we're like, okay, how are we supposed to get in touch with you if you don't answer your phone? And the thing is, the minute that you don't pick up, we don't call you again and again to make sure that you will pick up. We try once, we might try a second time, but then after that we might not, right? So depending on the job also, if it's an internship, definitely we'll have like 2,000, 3,000 candidates. So we have to call each and every one. So make sure that once you hand in a CV, please answer your phone, email address, check your email, 24/7. Not just like stare at the email 24/7, but maybe in the morning check your spam, check your junk mail as well. So on the photo, definitely there is some people prefer putting a photo, some people don't, depends on the country that you're in. But I know Sri Lanka, we are okay with a photo, we're perfectly fine. It's not that we're going to also discriminate you because you don't have one, or discriminate you if you have one. It really is up to you. But definitely I've seen a lot of CVs with photos, and even if there isn't a photo, we still don't really mind. So it really is up to you. But obviously when someone sees you, we feel like we're looking at you and we feel like we're connecting with you. So if you can put a photo, that definitely will be okay. But depends on the industry that you're in. So that is for personal details. So right on top, that's where your personal details go, right? So secondly, what we kind of need to add, why I will tell you, so ideally, in my opinion, it's your work experience that goes second. But why I have put education on the top is because I think a lot of y'all might not have work experience right now. So it's okay to, skip work experience if you don't have work experience. But ideally your work experience is the main thing, so you put that on top, right? So whatever you're doing currently always needs to be on top of your CV, and then you need to go in that order. So we'll start off with education. So definitely, you need to show, what your degree is, what school you went to, and you can put it in this. I've given you a few examples. So you can write what degree, what's the university, when did you start, are you still doing it? Then you can put present, which means you're still, following it. Do you have any other qualifications? Have you done this? Have you done a diploma? Have you done postgraduate? Have you done a certificate in something, HND? All of that, you can add your GPA, you can do all of that. But one thing that you should not do, I was looking at a CV recently as well. A lot of the time people try to fill in a lot of space, and they kind of put their results in a table, saying psychology A, science A, this A. Please do not do that, because it's not necessary, and plus it's not something that we kind of see in a positive way as well, unless your company has asked for it. But definitely just knowing that you've done your degree, what class you are in, maybe you can add, like first class, second upper, you can add that. You can add your GPA if you want to. So basically the four things that are on top, and any professional qualifications. So if you have done any professional qualifications, please do add it, because we would love to know what you are doing, what you're interested in, etc. So put your school as well. So ideally what you will need to do is put your your education and your degree and whatever other qualifications, and then your school at the bottom, because that's where you started off initially. So like I said, please do not put individual, subjects wise what your grade is, or your whole transcript on your CV. You don't need to do that, right? Okay. So work experience, I know that maybe most of y'all don't have work experience, but if y'all do, if y'all have done an internship anywhere, even if y'all have, worked maybe just out of curiosity, with, your family company or something like that, you can definitely put it. You can add your experience. You can put it in a way where you say what the company name is, what's your designation, what you went as, maybe like trainee or executive, and you can put the date, and you can write in bullet points what exactly is the job role that you did. So always be concise, right? Just say handle this in this, or assisted in this. So I've given you a few examples here, so what a brand manager has done, so you can read that. So what you have to put in your work experience is workplace, duration of work, point wise, what are your key responsibilities, and if you have achieved something, like if you have a KPI, you can add that, and your projects and targets that you achieved, right? So you can add all of that. So work experience must be related to the role that you're applying for. So if you're applying for a brand manager, it's better if you have brand manager work experience. If you don't have work experience, perfectly fine. If you have a degree and you're working towards becoming a brand manager, you can add your work, you can add your education. But work experience always needs to be in line with whatever role that you're applying for. Uh, and this is how you can sort of add that into your CV. So we've kind of gone personal details. Ideally, if you have work experience, that should come next, and then you put your education. And fourth, you will put your extracurricular activities. So a lot of the times you all will skip work experience because you all might not have it. So you will put education and then extracurricular activities, like what you all have done. Like the examples that are here, which is maybe some of you all are in Isaac. Some of you all have been in, clubs in your particular colleges, or you all were the treasurer, the project chair, etc., etc. You all were in a particular sports club, or you all did a particular sport. So you can definitely, add it in, because we want to see that, you've kind of participated, you've worked in a team, you had responsibility and you did something in your college years. But one thing that, be very careful is, I've had people coming to me with a lot of things that they've done, Isaac, they were this, or they were project chair in this, or etc. But when I ask them questions about what they have done, they cannot answer. So always make sure that whatever you're putting on your CV, you can talk about it. Because if you get chosen for the next round, they're going to ask you questions based on what's your CV. So you need to be able to know deep into whatever you're saying. So if you're the treasurer, I will ask you, okay, what do you do as a treasurer? What does a treasurer do? What were the challenges that you faced? Why did you want to be a treasurer? So I will ask you all of those questions, right? And you will definitely kind of get stuck if you don't know what it is. So you can add your extracurricular, definitely add it, because it shows us a lot and it gives us that sense of who you are as a person as well. That is something that you need to add on your CV, which will come under education and work experience. So lastly, we definitely want to know what skills you have. Add skills that you seem will be fit. So if there's always a certain role that you're aiming for when you give a CV, so you need to kind of think, okay, this skill would help me in this particular job, this skill would help me in this particular job. So you need to kind of think, okay, will analytical thinking help me, content creation, add any languages that you know. If it's a sales job, it's good to know all three languages. Do not add generic stuff, like that video also showed you, like baking and this and all of that. Add things like problem solving, team working, critical thinking. But always, whenever you add a skill, make sure or be sure to have a reason as to why you put that skill on. So if you say communication on your CV, if you come for an interview, I will ask you, why do you think you're good at communication? So you need to be able to answer that because you have put that on your CV, right? So it's quite important for you to kind of really think and put everything in your CV. So a few things that I'd like to tell you, like I said, the flow of your CV matters. So always puts what's relevant on top. So keep going, let's say your work experience, education, your extracurricular activities, your other skills, and personal details right on top of it all. Make sure that you check for spellings. Make sure that your grammar is proper. So once you're done with your CV, just send it out to somebody else, someone who is good at reading, someone who is good at kind of checking on, grammar mistakes. Just send it to somebody else and tell them to check, right? Because a CV with improper spellings really is not a good thing, and it really comes off very negatively for recruiters. So make sure that your spellings are completely checked and you're 100% sure of your CV, okay? And thirdly, make sure that you always know what's on your CV and get ready to answer any questions on your CV. Fourth, something that I have not added here is you can put referees. So you have to put a referee. I have not given a slide on that, but you can put a referee basically if you have a lecturer that can, vouch for you. So your referee always needs to be someone who is not related to you. And it always needs to be someone who has worked with you directly, knows about you. So you put, let's say, if you know your lecturer, and if your lecturer has worked well with you, then you can put your lecturer's name, you can put your lecturer's designation, what they do, their contact number, and their address. So that it kind of shows that you are referred to by this person, right? So at your referee, you can add 2 referees for the recruiter to kind of check in case they need it. So that is your CV in a gist. I'd like to say there's no such thing as amazing or a perfect CV. We always work on our CV. I am still working on my CV. We keep updating it. We keep going. There's always updates that happen. There's always changes. Every time you change something, make sure you add it into your CV, because you kind of want to have it ready whenever somebody wants, or whenever you want it. If you have it with you, that'll always be good, so you can send it quickly to a person, right? So in a gist, that is what your CV should ideally look like, and tips for what you can kind of think about when you're doing your CV. Okay, so that's about it. You can open up and ask me questions. I will be here. Does anyone have any questions or reflections on what they thought? I know there must be questions on the chat, but you can definitely just ask me anything that you really want to ask. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Dulaj. What's up?
Hi, madam. That I need to know that when we are putting that extracurricular activities, what type of activities we should put that we have done in school life and as well as in the university. What has to be chosen? That means resume is it's a tiny one piece of paper. So what
Yeah.
should we put?
So don't worry about the paper. Okay. You don't have to put everything into one page. You can move on to 2 pages as long as you're okay with it. Just don't, try and club everything. But if you have a lot, you can definitely move on to 2 pages. But for extracurricular activities, something that you can put is, what you've done. Extracurricular means whatever else. So if you've joined a club, if you've joined let's say you're in Isaac. If you're in Isaac, you can put Isaac. If you join a road track club, you can put road track. If you've joined the basketball team and you've won something, you can definitely say, a part of the basketball team in your particular university. So you're kind of showing what you did other than your studies, right? So what it's meant by extracurricular activities. So in a gist, whatever you've done extra in your college life is what you have to put. Does that answer your question?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Rhythmi, you have a question?
Yes, madam. Here I have worked in a service sector company since 2016, and that was more or less an online platform. And since it's a service sector in tourism actually, and now I'm studying agriculture, food science special. So the fields are completely different, but I feel like that I have improved a lot, and like communication, team management, and negotiation for these more than 5 years. So how can I make use of it in my CV
So
when I'm entering into something different?
yeah. So no, Rhythmi, you should definitely put it, right? What I meant by saying that, whatever you have in your CV needs to be aligned with your job. I don't mean to say do not omit what you have done in the past. So if you have work experience in a particular field and your degree is completely different, that's perfectly fine. You can still put it, because it depends on what you kind of showcase to the person, right? Like I was in marketing. I did an HR degree. I did an internship in marketing at Nestle. And then when I was applying to Unilever, they were asking me, okay, why did you have an HR degree? Why do you have a marketing this thing? So it's all about how you kind of answer yourself in an interview if they choose you. So it's perfectly fine. You can put it in your CV under work experience because that's your experience, right? And you learned a lot from it. So you shouldn't omit it from your this thing. Yeah.
All right. So, what should I prioritize? My educational qualifications and professional experience, or what is that? I have
So
some
I would
diplomas in the
say,
sector
yeah,
also.
yeah. So I would say if you are worried that your company is going to disregard you because you're in a different, if you put your work experience on top, then you can put your education on top and your professional qualifications, etc. And then you can put your work experience. So they first see that, okay, this person wants to be in this, but she's also had work experience in this. So maybe she had an internship or something like that. So if you're worried that they might, disregard you because of your work experience, then you put your education qualifications on top. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so there are questions on the chat. I'm just gonna go. Can we add A level and O level results? So Tiviru, you can, but just say that you have passed your O levels and A levels. Do not put your results in a table or whatever. Just say that you have done O levels in this particular field in this year and you have passed, right? So don't put, what exactly your results are, etc., and all of that. Mentioning 2 references is compulsory or not. So I would say, it's good if you can put 2 references, because the thing is, I mean, your CVs or have your education, it just has education. And when you put references, we see if it's someone who is very prestigious, we see that you are backed by someone who is in your industry. So it kind of makes us feel a bit better. So if you do have people like, like the let's say like a dean or something who you can get on your CV, it's amazing. So more references the better. So that's what I think. But it's up to you. If you have 1 reference, perfectly fine, but I mean, I have 2 references on my CV. So yeah. Okay. Can we add our signature in CV and resume? Not needed. You don't need to. You can just end with the references. You don't need to add a signature per se. Can we add school prefect-like positions to our CV? Yes, you can. So under extracurricular activities, you can say prefectship under this school, or what school that you went to, and like to say you were games captain in a particular school. You can just put games captain in this particular school in the year of 2018. So you put the year as well, which you are games captain or prefect or something like that. Okay. Okay, wait, I'm just trying to navigate this thing. Okay. Is it okay to add certifications and trainings in CVs? So certifications, yes, but trainings, no. So certifications, let's say you've done a course, right? And you kind of get a certificate from that course, yes. But if it's like a 5-minute course that you do, or it's like a small training that you do, please do not add it on your CV. If you have done a course which takes about, let's say, 1 month or 2 months, and you have to do a test and all of that, then yes, you can add it. If you've done stuff on Udemy or LinkedIn, which is a substantial course, then you can definitely add it. But don't add these little trainings that you join on your CV, because it doesn't make sense, right? Who is the most suitable person to add for your referees? So Nirasha, I'm guessing that you're in college, right? So if you have no work experience, if you have work experience, your referee would be your manager and your HR manager. If you can get them to be your referees. So how you ask them to be your referees is you have to tell them, can you be my referee? You can't just add people on your CV, because if we call them, they need to know who you are. They need to know that you have given them as a referee. So always ask your referee, ask the person, and kind of tell them, okay, I am putting you as a referee on my CV. If they do call you, please do speak to them, right? So let's say Unilever calls a referee and we're like, okay, do you know this person? And they're like, no, who is this? It looks really bad. So make sure you tell your referee, Your referee should not be related to you, should not be your friend, your father, your mother, or whoever. The most likely people that I can give you is your lecturers and maybe your faculty heads, who can be your or maybe someone from the career guidance unit who you know and kind of work closely with and who can tell. So a referee is a person who's going to kind of say, yes, she's a good person, she works well, she has worked with me on these projects and all of that. So it needs to be someone you have worked with. So that's why when you have work experience, you can always put your line manager or your boss, because that person can vouch for you and say, yeah, this person is a good person, she works well, and etc. That's why we have referees in the first place. Okay. Is it compulsory to send a cover letter with a CV? So it depends on the industry, but I of course think that cover letters are not no longer needed anymore, unless they have mentioned please send a cover letter with your CV. If you're sending it to Unilever, it's not necessary because we don't. I think cover letters are not used anymore. But in case that your company says to send a cover letter, then definitely do a cover letter and send it across. But other than that, you really don't need a cover letter. Is it necessary to mention I hereby certify phrase? No, because your CV, when whatever you put on your CV and when you go and hand it over to the employer, they take it as everything that you have mentioned is true. So we don't need another line saying it's true. We're going to take your word for it and kind of say that it's true. So you don't need to put phrases like this, because we trust you, and whatever information that you do put on a CV needs to be accurate and needs to be correct. So don't lie on your CV ever. Do not lie. It's better than not having it than lying and getting caught. So definitely do not lie. Can we both
Excuse,
add? Yes.
excuse me,
Who is?
madam.
Yes.
I have a small question from you. It is if I do something like sport activities and do achievements on something like all islands or district level, if
Yeah.
I can ability to add those things to my CV.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely should. So if you've gone to a district level and you're doing particular sport, then you can definitely add it in your extracurricular activities and say district level uh, javelin champion or something like that, and put your rank and all of that. So definitely do add it because it's something that you have done, right?
Okay. Thank you very much, madam.
Okay. So can we add both career objective and profile in resume? So yes, do. Where I told you about the personal, where you put your personal details, maybe you can put a tiny line as well if you want, as to what your objective is, who you are as a person, etc. So you can have like a tiny line or like a two-liner, talking about who you are, where you want to go, and kind of inspiring the recruiter. That also can be done. Thank you. Can I know how we put a course which is currently following? Can I add it as following chartered accountancy? So what you can do is, like I showed you let me just go back. Like I showed you this, right? Can you see this Isaac Sri Lanka core committee vice president, this date to present? So what you have to do is you have to put Chartered Institute of Accounting, the course that you're following, and you can put the date. So if you put 2019 to present, then we know that you're currently doing it. So you don't have to say following whatever. You can just put your date and you can put to present, a dash and present. So Hashi, can you see this? Is it clear to you? You don't need to write sentences of I am a candidate of this course, etc. You just have to put, education, under education, the course, the organization that you're kind of doing the course with. Let's say Human Resources Management Diploma, National School of Business Management in the next line. And then you can put, you're from 2018 dash present, which means you are doing that course. Okay. So I'm going to take that as you understood, Hashi. Is it okay to add online certificate courses at Coursera? Yes. Like I said, depending on if it's a course that is important and is not easy to get and not everyone can get. So if you've spent a lot of time on doing this course and you think that it really adds value, then do add it. Udemy, yes, definitely. Add a photograph, like I said, it's up to you. We don't discriminate. If you want, if you don't want, perfectly fine. What font and font size should be used? So definitely when you're going through your CV, there's no correct font size, there's no wrong font size, but you will definitely see, right? So what I would kind of suggest is have a layout, whatever main sections, kind of highlight the heading. So if you're putting education, highlight education, so that if I'm a recruiter, I will go and I will check and see, okay, this is where the education is, this is where this is, this is where this is, and make sure there's proper spacing. Don't put everything together because you want to just push everything into one page. It's okay to go on to 2 pages, but make sure it's nice and it looks nice, and when I look at it, I want to read it, right? So there's no proper font size, but use a nice font, and kind of make sure that you can kind of it looks nice and it's in order and it follows the same font throughout, right? If organization asks us to send CV for the same job, but we send resume, is it okay? So ideally, it's okay. There's no huge difference between a CV and a resume, so you can send it. That's perfectly fine. Okay, I want someone to ask me a question because I'm the only one speaking, and there's so many questions coming in.
Saliha, I have a
Yes.
question. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So what if we have done courses in Coursera or whatever the thing, but they don't issue certificate? Can we add those things in our CV or as a skill that we have gained?
Is okay. I would be okay with you adding it as a skill, but if you don't have a particular certification that they have given you, then don't add it, because it's a bit tricky. Because what happens is, if you don't have certification and in case they ask you for it, you might fall into trouble. So if you do something, let's say in digital marketing, or let's say like leadership or something, then you can add it as a skill. But usually they do give you like a certification thing, right? At the end, when you do like a substantial course, they do give you saying, because I know Google Digital Garage and stuff like that, they give you these certificates, right?
Yeah, some do.
Yeah. So I guess those are the ones you should be doing because they're giving you a certificate for it. If not, then I don't think it's as important. Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you,
make sure
Sabi.
always have backing. That's something that I would like to say. Okay, what you said about yes, so always make one, keep it, and keep updating it. Usually, I mean, I have one, and if there is, something that I need, or if I like, let's say, get promoted or transferred, or if I change my organization, I do sort of update my CV and just keep it with me. You don't have to update it 24/7. But you can kind of have it with you if you're looking for jobs, and if you're kind of updating it, you can start your CV now and keep updating it as you go in your life. Should we take the CV for the interview after we submit it to the company? Should we take the CV for the interview after we submit it to the company? So once you are chosen for the interview, definitely take a copy of your CV and go for the interview as well. If they don't tell you to bring your CV, if they say specifically don't bring your CV, then it's fine. But if they haven't told you anything, definitely take your CV, take your certificates and go. Most of the time, a lot of organizations actually do ask for your certificates when you show them. So just take a few. You don't have to take everything. Just take a few and go. But yes, it's always good to have a printed out copy of your CV in any case. If we have attended 2 or 3 schools, is it necessary to mention all that schools to our CV? Okay, that's a very interesting question, Nirasha. Well, yes, I think it's important because I wouldn't want a gap. So let's say you have started off in this school and you've gone into this school and there's a gap in the year. I will question you as to why there's a gap in the year. So maybe you can if you want to, but if you are comfortable with just saying the last school that you did your O-levels and A-levels with, then maybe that's also perfectly fine. That, like, I'm okay with that. You don't have to put all 3. Maybe you can put the last one which had your O-levels and A-levels in. Can we add the current following diploma courses to our CV? Yes, of course, if you're doing a diploma course, please do add it. That's why you're doing a diploma course, so that your job, whoever hires you in the future will get it. Please, can you tell a better way to arrange certificate files which carry to the interview? Wow, that's interesting. Sachi, do you want to explain this to me? Arrange a certificate file? It's okay, you don't have to be scared of me. No? Okay. Okay, so I don't really understand this question. What you ideally have to do is have your CV with you, and maybe get those file separators and kind of put your certificate nicely in. So if they want, they will ask you for it. But usually they ask you for your CV. Very rarely do they ask you for your certificates. But if you do have a big file, maybe they'll ask you for it. So just nicely, categorize it, like maybe your degree and then your sports and then your education, like how you categorize a CV, maybe you can categorize your certificate file as well. Can you please show slides 1, 2, 3 for me to take a screenshot? Okay, cool. Okay, NetMini, I'm just going to show you slides 1. NetMini, are you there? Can you tell me if you've taken the screenshot or not, so that I know?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is slide 1. And this is slide 2. Right. Okay, and this is slide 3. Okay, guys, can you tell me, can you ask me the questions if you want, because there's a lot. Anyone wants to come unmute and ask me a question so I can have a conversation with you?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, tell me.
This might be a little bit silly, but if you could advise me about choosing colors. Does the colors impress you something? I mean, choosing contrasting colors or light colors
Okay, so
for the
yeah,
CV?
see, that's what I said. There's no right CV, there's no right color, there's no right font, there's no right font size. But definitely you can use colors to your advantage. What I would say is use a maximum of 2 colors. Like you can see in this finance and client coordination, they've used black and blue, right? So make it professional, but you can use colors to also kind of give that highlight. So as you bold certain things and you want the eye to kind of go to those places, you can also use colors to make it feel a bit more better. Don't multicolor the whole thing like my background. Please don't do that. Don't use so many colors. Maximum of 2 colors, and you can use maybe like a black and a blue, or very subtle, very professional colors like that would work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I'm just going through the chat because I had to go out of it. Okay, digital certificates, yes, like I said, as long as it's makes an impact, then yes. Okay, there are so many CV templates online, so many. You can definitely go and check it out and kind of see. They will tell you, what to do and where to put stuff. So you can go and see templates. You can download templates very easily, etc. Quiz competition achievement. Yeah, definitely. If you have come first in a quiz or something and it was something very important, then yes, you can definitely add it. Did I miss anything out? When we mention certificates or courses that we followed, can we add childhood achievements? Okay, so grade 6 and 7, no. Like I said, as you keep on going up in the ladder, let's say when you're in college, you can speak about your school, but only grade like 10, 11, 12, 13, not 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Please don't speak about any of those grades. Then when you move on to work, try and drop your school, the school stuff you can keep, maybe your prefectship, maybe your clubs, your societies, the sports that you did, but don't speak about other stuff. And when you keep on moving, you kind of realize that you're dropping off the very insignificant things. So when you keep on moving up in your career, up in your CV, you'll realize that, okay, these things don't need, they will just need to know whether you did your O-levels, whether you did your A-levels, whether you did your degree, whether you did your master's, like that. And your work experience becomes the main thing on your CV. So everything else kind of drops off by itself. Page limits, I'm not going to show you a good CV because there's no such thing. There's so many templates online, again, like I said, and I've given you snips, so you just have to kind of push it together and make your CV. About the page limit of a CV, so a page limit, there is no page limit, but definitely I would say keep it about 1 to 2 pages. You don't have to push everything into one page, right? A lot of these people want 1-page CVs and they think that's the best, but it's not the best. You can always go on to 2 pages. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure that it's nice to look at. It's okay that it goes on to 2 pages as long as you've kept the spacing properly, the font properly, the colors are nice, and I feel like reading it, then you've done a good job. Yeah. If we have completed academics and not officially qualification completed, how can we manage this? Okay, so if you've done your transcript and all of that, you can definitely put your degree again, you can put your course, you can put your date, so do to this, and then you can say pending results, not officially convocation. So that's just that you have not graduated yet, but you're done with your degree, right? So you're sure that you're going to get your degree, then you can say completed. I mean, that's okay, just for you to get that officially. But if they have given you a letter saying that you have kind of completed and you have your final letter, that's perfectly fine. Then you don't have to kind of put pending results because there's nothing pending as yet. Can we add the certificates obtained at school prize giving ceremony? So it depends on what year this is. I really don't think it's very necessary because it doesn't really add value. From school, ideally the main things should be your sports, whatever you did, the clubs that you were in, and your O-levels and your A-levels, whether you passed that or not. Can we add our LinkedIn profile? Yes, definitely go ahead. Just add a nice little listing and put your name. So yes, Lakruan, speak to me.
Yeah, I have a question. Sorry. Okay. My question is, what type of a picture we can add? Like, does it have to be a very professional one, or is it okay if we add a casual picture? I mean, in a certain way, casual.
Okay. This is definitely has to be a professional picture. Do not, if you're adding a picture, make sure it's professional. Make sure your hair is combed properly. Because if you're adding a picture, it's very you need to be able to say that you're professional and you're ready. Because that's the first picture they're going to see. So definitely do not make it casual. A lot of the time, sometimes I've seen people, like they look like they're going for a party on their CV, and the impression that the recruiter gets is that it's not the best thing, because you are kind of coming into a job and they need to know that you are professional and you can be that, right? So it's better not adding a picture. If you're going to put a party picture, it's better to just put a very professional picture, where you're smiling and just maybe your neck up is perfectly fine. And make sure that your hair is combed properly. And if you're a guy, maybe if you're wearing a tie, should be fine. So don't put funny hairstyles and put a picture, because why I'm saying this is you're trying to reduce the negative stuff that might come out on your CV, because it's so important, right? Because they might see it and they might be like, okay, this person doesn't understand how to be professional, and they might disregard your CV. So just be very careful as to how you kind of put a picture, and make sure that it's professional. Just simple as that. When we add work experience, should we bring work certificates to us? The thing is, when you go for an interview, if they have asked you, so definitely before you go for the interview, they will call you, right? They will call you and they will tell you, okay, you're having the interview at this date. So if they call you, the thing is, they will definitely tell you what to bring. So they will say, okay, bring your CV, bring your certificates and come. Then yes, you take your service letters, you take your certificates, whatever you have said, not like these big fat files that you might have, but just take a few, just to show, like if they want to see your main things like your A-level certificate, your O-level certificate, your degree certificate, maybe if you've done swimming, maybe if you've done basketball, maybe if you're a prefect, if you're school leaving certificate, anything that you want to show. But if they call you and say come for an interview, you definitely can ask them, what do I need to bring? You can ask them, right? You don't have to be scared. You can say, what do I need to bring? So then they will tell you, okay, no, just bring your CV and come. If they say just bring your CV and come, just take your CV and go. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to worry, as long as you can ask them and you can check before. But ideally, I would like someone who's always prepared. So if you can take everything that you want to in case they ask you, that's also perfectly fine. Yeah. Background of the photograph, the color. So there is definitely no color that you can put. I mean, you can definitely put any color that you want, as long as it's professional, as long as you have kind of taken a picture and it looks professional. You know what a professional picture looks like, and you know what a professional picture does not look like. So yeah. Lakruan, you have another question? You have a question? Yeah, sorry, I couldn't answer.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
So what if we achieved national level sports in school, but just left it there, didn't continue in university?
That is fine. You can still put that. So if you did national level sports in school, you can tell your school name and say national level sport in this particular sport. You can add that. That's perfectly fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? It's 6 o'clock, so we're almost at the end of our session. Does anyone want to say anything before we? Yes.
What would happen if this is my personal issue? So I have completed diploma, but this institute is strict in this pandemic situation, so I couldn't complete the final project. Still, I have completed all the modules and examinations with good scores. So if I mention that in my CV, will it affect positively or negatively?
You don't need to mention anything. So you're sure you're going to get your diploma from this university, or you're not going to get it at all?
No, now they will issue a certification of participation only, not the diploma, just because I haven't completed the final project. Although I
Okay.
have completed all the modules, examinations, and everything.
Okay, that's quite unfair. But definitely, what you can say is you can say diploma in this thing, and but then again, you're only getting a certificate of participation.
Yes, might be if I couldn't complete in by next March, I'll get the certificate of participation only.
Okay, so
I don't know,
since you're
I
not
won't be
sure,
able or not.
you can still put it on your CV saying dash present, so they know that you're still following it. But if they ask you when you're going to get it, you say that you're not sure because of the pandemic. So it's okay. Since you've done it, I think you definitely should put it on your CV.
Okay, thank you.
Do I need to write a description of the CV first? Madhushani, do you want to explain it? What do you mean by description of the CV first? I am a bit unclear. You don't need to write a description on the top if that's what you mean. You can just, like I said, just put 1 or 2 lines of what your objective is, what you like. Let's say I'm a hardworking individual, and my passion is to do this, or my purpose in life is to be this. Very simple, not a description of what your whole CV is going to be, because your CV is a summary of who you are, yeah, and what you've done in the past. So you don't need to put a description per se. So if you've done a course from Coursera, you can definitely add it. But that, like I said, Chintani, if you should ideally get like a kind of certification at the end of the course, right? So it's good to have that with you, because in case they ask you, then you can say it. Very rarely are they actually going to ask you for it. But it's good to have that kind of digital certificate with you, because I think they do give it. And they say something saying that you've completed the course. So it's good to kind of have that with you. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of our session. Does anyone want to say anything about it before we end?
Yeah, Sabiha, this is Lakisha. I'm very thankful for you. We learned a lot. You answered every question and it was a wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you everybody. So you can definitely, follow me on LinkedIn. My name is Sabiha Murad. If you have any questions, do reach out. Happy to help you. And kind of, remember that there's no such thing as the perfect CV, but just kind of really work at, updating it and look at stuff online. Make sure somebody reads your CV to kind of before you go and hand it over to a company. So I hope today's session helped you. But yes, it was very nice meeting all of you.
Excuse me, Sabiha.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so guys, if y'all have any questions, I think this is the last chance y'all have. Before I move on to thank some special people. So if y'all have anything in your mind, please feel free to ask. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I think I answered so many questions.
Yeah. So after experiencing such an amazing workshop, I think it's my duty to thank a few special parties for making it all possible for us this evening. First of all, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Ms. Sabiha Murad, for being here with us this evening and for enlightening us with her experiences and for sharing her own tactics and strategies on how to make our CVs outstanding. Well, it was really informative, ma'am, and I personally did find it a lot helpful for me, and I'm pretty sure that you all did as well. So once again, I would like to thank Ms. Sabiha Murad for taking out time from her busy schedule and for enlightening us with her knowledge. Thank you so much, ma'am. And
Thanks
also,
a lot, guys.
yeah. And also, I would like to thank Surindu Gunawardana for helping us out to reach Ms. Sabiha. And also, I would also like to thank Unilever Sri Lanka and also Dr. Tusita Gunawardana, the director of the Career Guidance Unit of University of Ruhuna, for making it all possible for us this evening. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants who are present here today for your humbly partaking in this session. So once again, I would like to thank you all on behalf of the Rotary Club of University of Ruhuna for your presence here today. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.